It was a bright afternoon in Barcelona, the sun glinting off the glass facades of the world-famous Lila Diagonal shopping mall. If you like the video, please subscribe and comment. Tourists and locals alike buzzed through the air-conditioned corridors, unaware that two of Turkey's most beloved actors were about to have an encounter that would spark one of the most discreet celebrity relationships in recent memory. Barış Arduç, known for his charismatic roles and warm personality, had just finished a short campaign shoot in Madrid. Meanwhile, Elçin Sangu, with her fiery red hair and magnetic screen presence, was taking a personal break in Spain following the end of a theater production in Istanbul. Neither knew that they had chosen the same city, let alone the same day and the same shopping center, for a little off-screen downtime. According to an anonymous source close to the mall's security team, Barış entered the complex at around 2:30 p.m., wearing casual black jeans, a plain white t-shirt, and aviator sunglasses. He looked relaxed, like he was just there to browse, the source said. There were no bodyguards, no assistant, just him alone. Less than 20 minutes later, Elçin was seen stepping into the same shopping mall from the west entrance, dressed in a flowing beige dress with white sneakers, her hair tucked under. She was accompanied only by a female friend, reportedly a stylist from Paris. What happened next would soon become a story for the headlines. When eyes meet, according to several eyewitnesses, Barış was in the fragrance section of a luxury boutique when he looked up and locked eyes with Elçin, who had just turned the corner with a small shopping bag in her hand. It was like something out of a romantic movie, said a tourist from the Netherlands who happened to be in the same store. They froze for a second, stared at each other, and then both smiled like they'd just seen someone they hadn't expected to meet but were secretly hoping to. This wasn't the first time Barış and Elçin had met. The two had worked together in the past, most notably in the iconic TV series Karalık Aşk. Fans had long speculated about their off-screen chemistry, but both had always maintained a professional distance in public. They exchanged a few words at first, the tourist added. Then they walked out of the store together and disappeared into the crowd, the coffee that changed everything. Later that afternoon, the duo was spotted again, this time in a cozy cafe on the mall's rooftop garden. Seated at a corner table with a view of the Barcelona skyline, Barış and Elçin seemed entirely engrossed in each other. No phones. No distractions. Just coffee, laughter, and meaningful glances. We couldn't hear what they were saying, but it was clear they were enjoying each other's company, a mall staff member told the press under condition of anonymity. It wasn't a business meeting. It was something softer, intimate. According to that same source, they stayed at the cafe for nearly 2 hours, seemingly losing track of time. As dusk approached, they exited the mall together, slipping into a black rental car parked in the underground garage. An official statement was released by either actor or their teams. Families left in the dark. Perhaps the most surprising part of this blossoming connection was that neither of their families knew anything about it. She didn't tell anyone, a source close to Elçin confirmed. Not her mother, not her best friends. It was like she wanted to keep this little moment entirely hers. Similarly, Barış's inner circle was caught completely off guard. Barış has always been a private person, an insider explained. But even we didn't know he was meeting Elçin in Spain. This was clearly something he wanted to explore away from the cameras and the pressure. And so began a love story with no scripts, no studio lights, and no audience. Just two hearts reconnecting under the Spanish sun. Following their unexpected reunion at the Lila Diagonal shopping mall, the connection between Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu didn't end at coffee and conversation. In fact, it had only just begun. According to exclusive sources in Barcelona, the pair met again that very evening, but this time, far away from the bustling heart of the city. Their destination? A quiet, picturesque neighborhood near the coast known as Sitges, famous for its whitewashed architecture, local art galleries, and its ability to offer celebrities much-needed privacy. It was around 10 p.m. when a discreet black car pulled up near a small beachside villa, said a neighbor who claimed to have witnessed the scene. At first, I didn't recognize them, but once they stepped out under the streetlight, it was clear, Barış and Elçin. The villa in question, reportedly rented under a false name, was a minimalistic hideaway with a private terrace, a direct path to the beach, and no neighbors within close view. It's the perfect place to disappear, the source added. No paparazzi. No fans. Just sea breeze and silence. Rekindling a spark. Without words, insiders close to both actors suggest that the connection reignited in that villa was no mere flirtation. The chemistry between them had always lingered, even during the years they worked together. But this time, away from the industry pressure, away from Istanbul, and away from gossip columns, it had space to breathe. They didn't need to say much, a friend of Elçin said. Sometimes, with the right person, silence is more intimate than words. I think they both realized that what they had on screen might not have been acting after all. It was reported that the pair stayed at the villa for several days, shopping discreetly for groceries at local markets, walking the beach in the early morning before sunrise, and sharing long dinners on the terrace where the sound of the waves drowned out even the whispers of their growing affection. During this time, both remained completely silent on social media. Fans, always quick to notice when a celebrity goes dark, began speculating. Where was Barış? Why hadn't Elçin posted in days? But no one could have guessed they were hiding in plain sight. Together, a pact of silence according to a well-placed source who claims to have spoken with Elçin upon her return to Istanbul weeks later. The pair had made a mutual decision. This relationship, whatever it became, would remain completely private. They agreed that no one would know, the source revealed. Not their families. Not their closest friends. This was going to be their secret, to protect what they were feeling from being picked apart by the media or fans. And so they kept the facade. Photos with friends resumed. Carefully staged Instagram stories returned. Even press interviews were given, with no hint of their secret Spanish getaway. But behind the scenes, they were still in touch. Messaging, calling, making quiet plans for when and where they'd meet next. A romantic weekend in Seville. 3 weeks after their time in Sitges, the two were spotted again, this time in Seville, in southern Spain, known for its flamenco rhythms, Moorish architecture, and the kind of romantic atmosphere that invites confessions under the stars. Locals reported seeing a couple who looked exactly like Barış and Elçin strolling through the narrow streets near the Plaza de España late at night. They were holding hands but kept their heads down, one shopkeeper said. They didn't speak Turkish. Just quiet English to each other. But their body language. It was unmistakable. They were in love. An employee at a boutique hotel near the Guadalquivir River confirmed that a reservation had been made under initials Wwe, and yes, the guests stayed for only 2 nights, used room service for every meal, and asked that no housekeeping be done during their stay. They wanted to be left alone, said the hotel source. And they paid generously for that privacy. The no photos rule, perhaps the most intriguing element of their secret romance, was the absolute absence of photos. In an era where every second is documented and every public figure is one accidental selfie away from being exposed, Barış and Elçin's ability to remain hidden was nothing short of miraculous. A digital marketing analyst from Madrid commented, "It's extremely rare for 2 celebrities to escape the public eye for this long." They had to be using burner phones, encrypted messages, and perhaps even decoy profiles. Others speculated that a trusted circle of European friends helped them organize travel and accommodations under aliases. These were not random hotel bookings, another insider claimed. There was planning. There was intention. Back in Istanbul, but changed by the time both stars returned to Istanbul in midsummer, things had shifted. According to those closest to them, there was a new lightness in their demeanor, a peace that hadn't been seen in years. Elçin was glowing, said her longtime makeup artist. She didn't say anything about Spain, but I could tell something had changed. She was softer, more relaxed. Barış, too, reportedly returned from his trip with a new perspective. He's always been focused, professional, but there was a calm to him after Spain, one director noted. Like he'd found something or someone that helped him slow down. Yet, they continued to avoid public events together. No joint projects were announced. No suspicious sightings occurred. If anything, they seemed to be intentionally distancing themselves in public to protect the world they had secretly built overseas. Would you like me to continue with part 3? It will explore how they keep their relationship secret over time, the emotional challenges they face, and what happens when one of their family members starts to suspect something. Let me know, and I'll continue the story. While the Spanish sunsets faded into memory, the secret that Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu were guarding with all their might began to subtly echo back home in Turkey. They had both returned to Istanbul, resuming their professional lives as if nothing had happened. But the ones closest to them were not easily fooled. The body language that betrayed them, it began with small things. Barış, usually punctual and structured, started rescheduling meetings, especially on weekends. He'd take long walks alone on the Bosphorus, constantly checking his phone. Meanwhile, Elçin's friends noticed she had picked up new habits. Spanish music played in her car, she'd absent-mindedly doodle hearts in her notebook during coffee chats, and she had stopped sharing details about her romantic life altogether. "She used to tell me everything," said one of her oldest friends. But after she returned from Spain, she became emotionally guarded in a way I hadn't seen before. It wasn't a sadness, it was more like a quiet joy she didn't want to explain. One particularly observant friend even noticed that both Barış and Elçin had started wearing matching braided leather bracelets, subtle, unbranded, but identical. "I asked her where she got it," the friend recalled. She smiled and said, "Spain." That was all. Family begins to notice. The secrecy that protected their love also created distance from those they loved. Elçin's mother, known to be very close to her daughter, reportedly asked her directly if she was seeing someone. "You've been glowing lately," she teased. "Are you hiding someone from me?" Elçin laughed it off, but according to a source close to the family, she quickly changed the topic and avoided discussing her time in Spain altogether. Barış's younger brother, meanwhile, noticed that he had begun taking Spanish language lessons online. When asked about it, Barış joked, for future vacations, but never elaborated. What no one knew was that every Sunday evening at exactly 11:30 p.m., the two would connect via a private encrypted video call, a ritual that helped them bridge the distance their careers demanded, the struggle of silence. Despite the thrill of secrecy, the weight of invisibility began to take its toll. According to a close friend of Barış, he confided once that the hardest part wasn't the hiding, it was the pretending. They had to erase each other from public life. The friend shared. No likes on social media. No public comments. No invitations to the same events. It's one thing to keep something private. It's another thing to act like it doesn't. There were moments when the distance stung more than usual, like when Elçin attended an awards ceremony alone and Barış watched her speech from a hotel room in Prague, or when Barış's new series was released and Elçin celebrated quietly, sending him a private voice message instead of a public post. Still, they remained committed to their pact of silence. A secret reunion in Lisbon. By early fall, unable to bear the distance any longer, the two arranged another meeting, this time in Lisbon, Portugal, a city known for its winding alleyways and the haunting sounds of fado music. They stayed in a historic guest house in Alfama under assumed names. Locals noticed them walking hand in hand through the streets at night, but never connected the dots. It was clear they were in love, a local artist recalled. They'd sit in small tavernas, sipping wine, and listening to live music. She leaned into him when she laughed. He looked at her like she was the only person in the world. They spent 4 nights together in Lisbon, exploring old bookstores, dancing in the rain, and cooking meals in their rented flat. But even there, they avoided selfies or traceable communication. Close calls and careful covers. Their second escape didn't go unnoticed for long. An overeager fan in Turkey noticed both stars had gone offline at the same time and began a Reddit thread titled #WweReArduç. The thread speculated they were secretly dating and had met up abroad. A few blurry photos from Lisbon, where a man and woman resembling them were caught in the background of a tourist's Instagram story, added fuel to the fire. Though the post went viral for a moment, it was quickly drowned in denial. Their management teams dismissed the rumor as fan fiction. The actors themselves said nothing. They were prepared for this, said a PR strategist familiar with celebrity media. By controlling their narrative through silence, they made it impossible for anyone to prove anything. The secret that strengthened them. Rather than weakening their bond, the danger of discovery seemed to make their relationship even stronger. They've built this little world that no one can touch, one of Elçin's stylists said. It's like a romance novel that's still being written in real life. There's something beautiful about how private it is. One night, in a voice note that Elçin sent to Barış after they had returned from Lisbon, she reportedly said, "Even if the world never knows, I do. Even if no one ever sees us holding hands, I'll remember how it felt in that quiet alley in Lisbon. That's ours." Thank you guys.